It is open. Some of the two universities will share with your leadership so that anybody who really want to come can go and do them. There is a huge shortage of lecturers for PAs in Kenya because majority don't have the PhD or masters. So some of you who have masters and PhD, we pray that you can also explore, because medicine has got no boundaries, just the way diseases have no boundaries. The other thing is that in Kenya right now we have a new career progression guideline. It replaced the scheme of service that now puts clinical officers in a different job group entry from other cadres. If you have your bachelor's degree in a physician associate, you cannot start in the same job group in the civil service with any other degree. So this degree is superior to other degrees. That is the way it has been put, and that is courtesy of the union that has been doing well. I also want to say that as I conclude, that as GACOPA, because for Kenya I think I've already summarized, as GACOPA, we've been holding conferences, and the first conference was held here in Ghana in 2018 at the University of Professional Studies. I think it was a very nice one. Though not well attended, but it was an eye-opener. That is where GACOPA was being born. Then from there we went to Rwanda in 2019 at the University of Rwanda. At that time, Rwanda had stopped the training of PAs. But after our conference, the Prime Minister of Rwanda reintroduced the training. So you can imagine now the impact that we really had with the clinical officers of Rwanda. They were really happy about that. From there, we went to Malaysia. Malaysia in Putrajaya. Putrajaya is the administrative capital, just close to Kuala Lumpur, where we had our third international conference. It was a success. As we speak now, Malaysia, who had been denied prescription rights since the training began in early 20s, 1920s, now got the prescription rights. Now they can prescribe, and Malaysia is part of us. From Malaysia, we went to Botswana, and that was last year. It was a successful conference. We now, Botswana, train doctor assistants instead of training clinical officers, which is in the law. It's like someone coming here in Ghana and training clinical officers, Bachelor of Clinical Medicine. Yet in the law, it is physician assistant. So it becomes very difficult that even the medical and dental council are not sure what this Bachelor of Science in Clinical Medicine is. Yet the curriculum is the same. From anatomy, physiology, the number of hours and everything is the same as internship. But you know, some of these people don't want to understand. Because even in medicine, there are people who do MMBS, some are doing MPCHD, some are doing different things, but at the end of it, they are all medical officers. So that is what happened in Botswana. But now I can tell you that we pushed it with EAPI, and an exam will be set to these 300 doctor assistants to be transitioned to clinical officers. There are opportunities in Botswana for those who have done anesthesia. There are opportunities everywhere. When we have time, maybe tomorrow or later on, we will talk about the opportunities that are available in different countries. So we are also partnering with the International Academy of Physician Associate Educators that are having a conference in South Africa. We want, because it is the education board, it is now the body that is helping us to come up with this regulation curriculum. The good news is that what we are setting in East Africa, we expect it to also be done here in West Africa and Southern Africa. We've started it in Southern Africa. In East Africa, the medical doctors in the 7 East African countries under the East African community, you don't need any paperwork for your license to be changed from one country to another. You just need to go online, and it has been harmonized for doctors. That a doctor from Kenya can do internship in Uganda and get licensed in both Uganda and Kenya. A doctor in Tanzania can get licensed in Tanzania, and the license can be used to practice in Uganda, and vice versa in South Sudan. So as clinical officers or as PAs, we've started that, and we are just on the last step, where the ministers of health of the 7 East African countries will agree and ratify before the presidents of the East African community signs that document. And that was the initiative of GACOPA when we started our mission in Rwanda. So we decided that we start in South Africa. The Southern Africa Conference has begun, and Malawi and Zambia have taken the lead role to ensure that the Southern Africa also have that one common licensing body where it becomes very easy to move, because you cannot stop one from moving from one country to another. It is very painful that a clinical officer who has done a degree in clinical medicine in Uganda, together with the wife of the girlfriend, who is a Ugandan. In fact, the wife who was a Ugandan was beating him. Now when they are back to Kenya, the wife cannot get registered. So we really wonder which criteria, and of course these laws are laws that can be pushed. I also want to ask people to join politics, and I've always been telling very many people when we meet, please, for those who are good enough, please join politics. We want MPs, we want people in that parliament who can help us to pass these laws. It is you people, we don't leave it to others, and we are capable. Even if we have a pool of members and we support them from different countries. Recently, Malawi held the elections, and 2 clinical officers were elected in parliament on an independent ticket. That is history. Samuel Kafkofa and Eno Fari, all those 2, good friends of GACOPA, they are now in parliament in Malawi. Of course, they will join the health committee. You don't expect them to go and join the agriculture committee. They will join the health committee, and those laws, they take part in passing of those laws. And we know they are capable. Malawi, in the recent election, before they held the election, the vice president of Malawi, the outgoing vice president of Malawi, was a clinical officer. For those who followed, we went and awarded him before his term ended. Having got the highest, having been the only PA or clinical officer in the entire world to reach the level of being a state vice president of a republic. Now he's helping us in pushing things in Malawi. So that's why I'm telling you, please, let us join politics. Our counterparts, the doctors, are in politics. And I told Zambia that the Health Professions Council of Zambia are mistreating the clinical officers just because the doctors form part of that council. Because the doctors dominate that council that regulates. It is very easy. If you become so much difficult to us, then you leave and join another regulatory body. So the GPA, because of the fight between the doctors and the clinical officers or PAs, it cannot end. The only way is to get out and seek self-regulation. If self-regulation cannot be achieved very fast, then you can join an allied health professional council, just like Uganda, just like they are very big countries, even Sierra Leone here. I've got the allied health, or a council that will understand you. A council that will understand you, because we are not stopping the training of clinical officers very soon. And that is not something that we really want to think about. Kenya's offers key lessons, because even as we've had clinical officers who are members of parliament, and they have really helped us. There is a time they were amending the Clinical Officers Act number 20 of 2017. If you just Google Clinical Officers Act 20 of 2017, you will find that act. There is a time where they were saying that clinical officers should not perform surgery. And it was a debate in parliament. So the surgery that the clinical officers were not supposed to perform, they say that we are not equipped or well equipped to perform those surgeries. So it was a debate in parliament. We were demonstrating, we were reaching out to our MPs. But then some of the MPs say that even in their rural places or the villages, the clinical officers who have been performing those surgeries. So when you say that they cannot perform surgeries, then who are these people who have been performing surgeries? There was a clinical officer who had done like 3,000 cesarean sections with no maternal death. So those are things that once it was put to the floor of the house, they agreed that we perform surgeries as per our scope. Finally, GACOPA always partners with institutions. We have an MOU with Eden University of Zambia. We have MOUs with different universities and colleges. Recently, we have started an MOU with the Defense University of Ethiopia. The Defense University of Ethiopia trains clinical officers at master's level. In Ethiopia, the clinical officers are called health officers. So there is a program called the Masters of Science in Emergency, Integrated and Obstetric Medicine. It was started 10 years ago in Ethiopia by the current Director of Health. Director General of Health is Dr. Tedros. So by that time he was the Minister for Health in Ethiopia. So when he started this, Ethiopia got a maternal mortality of close to 600 and something. Now Ethiopia has got a maternal mortality of 200 and around that, just because of these clinical officers or PAs who were introduced. So right now it is only offered at the Ethiopian Defense University, but for non-civilians. We have agreed with them, but now they open it up to civilians to go and pursue that training. And they have mapped Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Zambia, I think and South Africa as countries that they will start that pioneer program. So we will reach out to your president. For those who are interested in pursuing that course, we will see how it will be done. And of course, in April or March, all the specialties in Africa, ADPA was a special important conference, April, May. So those who can manage, let us meet there in Addis Ababa. And finally, our 6th international conference will take place in India in 2026. Let's meet in India. Let's continue engaging. I'm living here on Sunday. Be blessed. I'm a fan of Asante Kotoko, so if anyone is generous enough, can give me a jersey of Asante Kotoko.